Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 23 driver career mode and the final episode of season 5 before we make that leap into what is going to look quite different season 6 with the new teams and partners that are joining the season for that as well. The calendar going to look quite different, 23 races and a very different shakeup that I think you guys will enjoy, just seeing something really fresh. But today, finale, Brazil, the World Championship for the driver's side of things already determined. Alex Albon will be a back-to-back, now two-time Formula One World Champion, but the constructors, it's already determined who's going to win there. That is as well McLaren. But for second place, it's up for grabs between Red Bull and Mercedes. So the goal today is pretty straightforward. We're kind of coming into this weekend with more of a fun vibe to it, and we're really not focused in on paying too much attention to points and more or less just go out there, run as good as we can, and if we end up on top of the points with the constructors in P2, we'll take it, and we're bringing that same idea against our teammate as well in the driver's standings. So myself and Drugovich, we're only separated by 1 point coming into this Grand Prix. Of course, he's 1 point ahead of us as we have had so many issues that have plagued our season that put us in this position. So we'll see what we can do here. Now, it was practice on Friday afternoon. It was pretty good. The car felt pretty good. Remember, last season, we won this race in quite dominant fashion. Definitely my most dominant win in my Formula One career so far. We have 3 wins on this season. We would love to repeat what we did last season in Brazil and make that 4 today here. Now we roll through into Saturday qualifying, and I remember just with the way this car is and the setup last season in Brazil, the car doesn't have great short-term pace in the car, but the Red Bull has its strengths of being good on the longer run, and it seems to be really good on the longer run in Brazil. Q1. Pretty simple cruising through into P8 as well. Carlos Sainz, it's his last weekend, so pay attention to that there. The Spaniard P15, but Tsunoda, Lawson, Zhou, Hughes, and Armstrong all out. We'll get an idea of who's in, or actually who's out when we go through the grid in the Grand Prix. You'll have an idea basically all drivers that will not return to the grid next season now as we come through into Q2, similar vibe to Q1, just cruising through here now to the line, and that will put us through into Q3 P8 again, but a surprise exit. It's the champion. Alex Albon is out in Q2, and that means Calimere in as Jack Dew and her teammate there, P12, Sainz, Gasly, Ocon. Those two, the Frenchmen there, the last time probably for both of them on the French team as teammates as well, as it sounds like both of them might be going to a new team with Alpine, of course, being rebranded. However, focusing on our Q3 run here now through this second sector, not expecting a great effort because, like I said earlier, this car kind of slower on the short run here in Brazil, but it really fires off on that long run. So obviously qualifying is all about 1 lap, 2 lap pace at the maximum. So it's not going to be great. We're going to come to the line. We'll beat Calimere, but that's it. We go P9. I go for a second attempt to see if we can find a bit more time because we're really not that far off pole. We're only about 4 tenths off, and I felt like I could gain 4 tenths. So I kind of put in the time. We find about 1/10 of a second, about 1/10 and a half, close to 2 tenths now. So, I mean, this could put us in towards the top 5 if we can keep it up at least. However, I wouldn't keep it up. I would go wide, and there it goes. So, yeah, I mean, we were looking at about a 2 to 2.5 tenth gain, which would have put us in a bit better position. But our teammate Drugovich, again, on pole, 2 Grand Prix in a row going into the season finale as he's still seeking that first win. Can he do it today? Let's find out.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. Just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Jackson, Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Golden Boy, Mayer, Albon, Doohan, Sainz, Gasly, Ocon, Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, Joe, Hughes and Marcus Armstrong. And now it's time to head down to the track. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson.
And they can do it for sure, as long as they don't dwell too much on the position. At the end of the day, there's only one way to go racing, and that's to give it everything you've got. Either your best is good enough to stay in the hunt, or it's not. There's no point giving any less than 100%.
It has been a very, very up and down season, and now it comes down to this final episode here in Brazil. Softs to mediums is going to be our strategy, a nice sunny day here in Sao Paulo.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
Everybody but two drivers on softs. You got Albon there on mediums as well. Esteban Ocon in the Alpine electing to go with the same strategy. How will this work? We're about to find out.
As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
All right, team, you know, we've had our up and downs. We just got to keep doing what we've been doing, and we're going to win a championship next year, but let's end today on a high.
Couldn't agree more. Let's get it today and maybe have a nice party tonight.
Rolling up to the grid now. As you see, the Alfa Romeo Haas, that team, of course, rolling up to the back of the grid. Their final race in Formula 1 before Andretti Global takes over going into next season here. Hopefully they have a proper farewell today. As it's lights out, we're racing here from Brazil. It's a good start there from Drugovich, and Jackson was able to split through 3 wide in the middle, and he's going to go up the inside of Drugovich in a turn 1, 3 wide in the background there. You got a Ferrari, a Mercedes, and a Trackhouse all in one. They're going at it. They get it sorted out, but a big gap created for the top couple of cars. The top 3 kind of escaped from 4th on back for now. We'll see what happens after that. That's Hamilton in 3rd. So Drugovich goes from pole to 2nd. As what a story it would be if Drugovich could finally get that first career win here today in his 2nd full-time season with Red Bull Racing at his home circuit here in Brazil. That would be a heck of a story. I started P9. I was still P9. There was nothing special for me there on the rundown into turn 1. Kind of crowded, just having to be patient, hold my own, and wait for things to happen, but it never really actually happened, so I decided to stay put there. But overall, pretty happy with that. Alex Albon, P11 on those mediums. I don't think that strategy is going to really work for him, because honestly, overtaking can be a bit difficult sometimes in Sao Paulo with the DRS train, especially now that the top 5 teams are so close together. And then you can't rule out Connor Sport as well. What is Connor Sport going to do going into next season? They have put themselves in an awkward position where they're not fast enough to hang with the top 5 teams all race, but they're much faster than the 4 teams behind them. So they're kind of on an island of their own for a lot of these races. It's really strange, and they're obviously able to pounce on points when a team up front has some issues. But we have seen now they are capable of winning races in Qatar with the rookie of Jack Doohan. Today is Jack Doohan's 10th start in Formula 1. It's hard to believe he's already got a Grand Prix victory under his belt here, as he has a very, I would say, promising career ahead. However, focusing on myself, lap 5 of 36, and you can see for me, I mean, I hadn't made any progress yet. The difficulties overtaking were really showcasing themselves, but now here we go. A run on the back of Leclerc. 1 win on the season for Charles Leclerc as well. Red Bull is going to be maintaining the same lineup going into next season as we go for a move up the inside there, and we actually take the position, but it was confirmed earlier in this week we will have the same lineup with myself and Felipe Drugovich on Red Bull Ford next season. There was some rumor that Red Bull was potentially looking at a swap with Trackhouse for Leclerc and Drugovich, but we have decided to maintain the same lineup going into what's going to be a longer season as well. 23 races on the calendar. Next season it's going to be a season that I'm very excited for now, as we actually have trouble here, lap 6, and it's one of the Alfa Romeo Haas cars, and it's Armstrong, who's had a miserable rookie season, potentially his final race in Formula 1 after just 1 season, and he's already out of the race. Day over for Armstrong with a mechanical failure. That's one of the Alfa Romeo Haas cars down in their final ever race as a team. As you can see, that pace in this Red Bull was starting to come out of the car now. We were really starting to get on the move. It was just about finding the opportunities to overtake. Here we are on Russell, maybe trying to go for a sneaky move up the inside. There we go. We'll lunge it alongside into turn number 1 there, and we just about complete the pass, but we got to leave the room for Russell there, but we get around the outside. And thank you very much. That's another position gained as we'll continue on this journey towards the front now. We now run P7. Leclerc trying to put some pressure on Russell, but not really going to be successful. He does get alongside him here, but Russell would be able to stay ahead briefly until Leclerc did eventually complete that overtake. So now, here we are through the second sector again, and you can just see how strong our car is really in sector 2, but we have to really wait for those DRS zones to actually be able to make overtakes. So here's the second DRS zone here now, and we're going for an overtake now on Lando Norris. We'll go to the outside into turn number 4, and there we go. Job well done. Up into P6, Max Verstappen, you're next up. Hopefully we can have a clean battle with the Dutchman here. Now is actually, as that was all going on, Yuki Tsunoda going for a spin here in the BMW, a team that's looking for some big improvements going into next season. Of course, Fernando Alonso plays a big role in that team, of course, the retired Aston Martin driver. But now the fight with Verstappen, lap 10 of 36, will go to the outside into turn 1, nearly contact here. We've had our run-ins with Verstappen this season, Monaco and Qatar specifically, and there was big drama both times now because it was big moments of contact. It wasn't just casual. Verstappen stays ahead, and now Norris out of nowhere didn't even realize he was in a position to where he could attack, comes out of nowhere, but we stay ahead right there. So we continue in P6 and just have to be patient. Here's the run as we have a big slide right there on the right hander. Thankfully we save it. I was going to try and send it right here up the inside, but obviously that didn't happen because of that slide that we had. So now lap 11, here we go again, same corner, turn 4, trying to go around the outside, and we'll get the job done this time. If you can hook it up right there around the outside, you are just going to be able to fly now. But Verstappen, speaking of flying, up the inside he goes on the run into turn 1, nearly contact again. We're racing hard, but we're racing clean with Verstappen now, as it seems like even after Qatar and the dramas there's at least a little bit of respect between us as former teammates as well. In this season finale, we would be able to stay ahead and drive away now. We had opened up the gap by over a second, and Lando Norris was actually able to pass Verstappen in the Ferrari. Hamilton, coming back this season after a season off from retirement, joins Ferrari alongside Verstappen and has won a race back in Mexico, but as well, has surprisingly outperformed Verstappen in racing, in the race results quite consistently this season. And he will be back for next season as well. Aiden Jackson pits from the lead. Now, Dragovic had been in second within DRS of Jackson that whole run, but he just wasn't quite close enough to pass him. We come in a lap later here now, bringing our Red Bull in just behind Lewis Hamilton. As well, we expect to see Alex Albon stay out quite a while. He's passing us right now, so he'll probably stay out for quite a few more laps before he comes into the pits, but his strategy so far not working, is not really gaining any track position whatsoever out of this. So it's going to be really interesting, as Albon, this last part of the season, just has not quite gone his way, but fortunately he had such a dominant first half that he was able to just ride on that going into the end of the season to win this championship. Now we exit the pits, and Verstappen, who's got a lap of tires being warmed up already, was able to put that to use here on the front straightaway. Here we go down towards turn 1. Verstappen up the inside again. The battle with him is not over now, and he clears us there. I just couldn't get the car, the front tires just didn't want to hook up and turn in, so unfortunately we'll have to settle back in behind him now. And here is now Oscar Piastri in the Trackhouse machine. We come to a lap later now, lap 19 at this point, and Verstappen still out in front of myself here, so we maintain P7. Albon is yet to pit at this point. He is still on the racetrack, really stretching out those mediums now, but over the course of this lap, you can see Piastri drives away from the Ferrari, and he falls back to me. He goes defensive here in towards the final turn, and that tells you he's vulnerable. Here we go now on the run down towards turn 1. Verstappen leaves the door open on the outside, nearly contact. Leclerc on the Trackhouse sets the quickest lap of the Grand Prix. Continuous wheel-to-wheel action here today, Brazil especially, against Max Verstappen here now, but fortunately we'll get him on the exit there, and up at a P6 now. We can settle in. Actually, hold on, he's going to fight back into turn number 4, but he just can't quite break as deep as I can today, so we stay in P6, and he had a really bad turn 4, it looked like. Albon, as we come to start lap 21, is still on the racetrack, but he finally pits right now. Coming to lap 22 as Drugovich is setting the fastest times on the racetrack. Now as we're running down Oscar Piastri for 4th place, Drugovich is all over the back of Hamilton. Drugovich is the quickest car on track. How quickly can he make work on the Ferrari to go through and try to run down Aiden Jackson to get his first career win today? Those two drivers looking, for similar scenarios. Their first win this season, but Drugovich looking for his first career win, while Aiden Jackson's now got quite a few wins under his belt. We complete the pass on Piastri, but he fights back, and on the run towards turn 4 actually has so much speed in that Trackhouse machine that he's able to stay totally clear of me. So I'm going to try and do the same thing to him on lap 24. We'll go around the outside into turn 4. Thank you very much. And now let's go try to run down Drugovich and Hamilton. Drugovich way quicker than just about anybody right now, but he's stuck behind Hamilton. He can't quite get past him. So now I'm running down both of these drivers here as these laps go on.
You're catching them. Keep it up.
Doing everything I can. Honestly, if Lewis keeps holding them up, we can win this thing. That might be a little bit bold because we would still have to, pass Drugovich, pass Hamilton, then run down Aiden Jackson. But I was feeling pretty confident at this point. But lap 26, here we go. Now, Drugovich on the run towards turn 4. We're seeing a lot of overtaking in turn 4 instead of turn 1. He's going to go around the outside. Hamilton sent it into the corner. Not quite enough there. Maybe a bit of contact as well. But down to 3rd. Drugovich through in a 2nd. He's got 4 seconds to Aiden Jackson. Can he find the pace? We're going to find out as we go through the grid.
Jackson looking for that first win this year, but it's not going to come easy as Drugovich is really starting to close the gap to him.
This is going to get really spicy towards the final couple of laps, I reckon. Ted, any silly season news we should know about for the final time this year?
Yeah, guys, I can tell you basically all drivers who aren't coming back next season. Obviously, Carlos Sainz, as he will retire, but as well Marcus Armstrong and Jake Hughes, both will be off the grid next season. So we're set to see at least 2 rookies, but maybe a third as someone needs to fill Sainz' seat as well. And I'm hearing as well, Gasly is the lead candidate for the new Andretti team.
All right, thanks, Ted, as we hear from him for the last time this season. Any favourite moments from this season, Martin?
I love watching Connor Sport's progress this year. We thought they might be on the way out, but instead they turned things around and have become a proper team with 2 young but very capable drivers.
We'd like to thank everyone again for watching Formula Owen's F1 23 driver career mode. That does it for us, and we look forward to seeing you next season.
Over the course of Through the Grid, Aiden Jackson has now allowed that lead to be cut down to 2.3 seconds as we as well had run down Lewis Hamilton. We are quicker than Aiden Jackson as well. I don't know, we're relatively even with our teammate of Felipe Drugovich, but I do think we might have a little bit more pace compared to him. But just like Drugovich struggled to pass Hamilton, well, now here I am in the same scenario here, just waiting for the opportunities on the run down towards turn 4, looking for it, just wasn't there. And I have Oscar Piastri as well in my DRS at this point in time, about 0.5 of a second behind, so don't rule him out either. But we come through to lap 29, and here we go on the exit of the final left-hander. Up the inside now, wheel to wheel with Hamilton. The gap down to Drugovich was a whole 3 seconds because of our fighting and just waiting behind Hamilton here. We're drag racing on the run towards turn 1. 7 laps remain in this Grand Prix. We break very even with Lewis there into the corner. Yellow flags again. Yes, that's it's another Alfa Romeo Haas. Oh my goodness. Liam Lawson, mechanical failure in Alfa Romeo Haas's final race in the sport. Both of their cars will be out of this race. That is heartbreaking. Haas didn't deserve that bad of an ending, but unfortunately that's what they get. Piastri was able to get past Lewis Hamilton and start to open up a gap there as well as we continue to try and run down the cars in front. Now there you see the gap, 4.7 to Jackson, 3.3 to Drugovich. So Drugovich is consistently running down Jackson. Now he has a few lap fresher tires than the McLaren driver, as actually pick up a warning there for exceeding track limits, but that as well is definitely helping Drugovich at this point now, dealing with that earlier spinner of Yuki Tsunoda. He was way behind without any safety car assistance, but now Drugovich is within DRS with the final 3 laps underway, looking for that first win. We thought we saw the potential last episode when Drugovich went and put the car on pole position. He didn't quite live up to the hype in the end, but he put it on pole again here in his home race in Brazil, and now he's backing that up with a potential potential race victory here for the first time in his career. But what's going to happen now? They got another lap car of Jake Hughes just in front of them. Well, that car play a role. They're going to catch him in the final turn, and they would get to him on the front straightaway, but Hughes pulls over to the left, and now 2 laps to go in this Grand Prix. You can see Drugovich is there and ready to pounce. Is he going to be able to do this? We've seen many struggle with getting close enough to overtake, so Drugovich really just needs to be right on the back of Jackson. I'm nearly all over, out of control. I mean, that was absolutely horrendous, but we somehow save it and keep it going. Coming to the final lap of this Grand Prix and the final lap of this incredible Season 5 of our F123 Driver Career Mode. White flag in the air. Aiden Jackson only a couple of car lengths right now on our teammate of Drugovich. Here we go, both looking for the first win of the season, but who wants it more? The guy that wants his first of the year, or the guy that wants his first of his career? I think we're about to find out. Drugovich with a huge run to the outside of Jackson into turn 4. Jackson opens the wheel, but it's not enough, and around the outside, Felipe Drugovich into the lead of this Grand Prix on the final lap. Unbelievable scenes. What a season it has been of Formula 1 action. If the final half had brought what we had here into the first half of the season, I mean, who knows how this would have turned out. But Albon, of course, the champion. Red Bull will get P2 in the Constructors with this finishing results, and more importantly, it's the day for our teammate of Felipe Drugovich in his home Grand Prix here in Brazil. He will win his first race in Formula 1. Aiden Jackson, a winless season. He has to settle for P3 in the season finale. Both Red Bull cars on podium.
The checkered flag, and the checkered flag on the season as well, and what a season it's been. We've had our ups and downs, but you know what? I've really enjoyed working with you, and I hope we can do it again. Nice one, mate. See you back at the pits.
It's been a roller coaster season, but they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today.
I mean, honestly, you don't want to get beat by your teammate, because that also means Drugovich beats me in the points. This is only the second time ever we've been beaten in the points. Story's a little bit different, I feel like. You know, when we got beat the first time, it was by Fernando Alonso, and he was just straight up better than me in that second season of our career. This time, it was more we got beat in the points because of the problems that we, faced over the course of the season mechanically as well. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything because on the stat books, it's still going to show Drugovich ahead, and that's what people look like there. So that's unfortunate. I think that puts him P2 as well in the driver's standings, and myself down in P4. And it is what it is. But yeah, Drugovich will get P2. Russell should be in 3rd place next season. That's what's on the horizon. Stay tuned next episode, because there will be, of course, a off-season video to showcase all the new liveries, roster changes as well, and the new calendar, which is going to be probably the most unique-looking calendar that we've had so far, with just the shake-ups there. It's going to look very different. But the one thing that will remain, Brazil as the season finale. It's just so fitting. There it is. Oh, sorry, not Drugovich in 2nd, Aiden Jackson 2nd. Drugovich got 3rd. 4th is Russell. 5th is myself. Verstappen in P10, while Hamilton was P6. A surprising difference between those two drivers there. And as well, you can see McLaren gets the Constructors, of course, over us, as we end up P2 in front of Mercedes. Thank you for the support in all 5 seasons of this career mode. We're going to kick off Season 6 as soon as possible. I'll see you guys then. Have a great day.